Hi, everybody. My name is Longhair Country Boy with Talking Points USA. Look, today I want to talk about some political election framing. Some of you may be running for office, or you may be like, what are these important issues that we may be discussing in the hot topics of today's election year? First, I want to talk about what Democrats. I want to talk about some non-starters, first of all, if you want to really get to the serious voters. The reflecting pool, don't think it's going to matter. Ivanka's Island and the Trump merchandise, yeah, I don't think it's going to matter unless it leaks over into the corruption. Look, everybody's all like up in arms over the UFC fight. I thought not bad of an idea, so that's really not the other thing either. Number fourth is the voter ID. I think that, what they say, 80 something percent of Americans think you should have an ID. Now, look, this voter ID law trying to be passed is not the same as, just this voter ID. And so I don't think that's another topic that you need to be focused on. The other party is split. Like, is that your best argument, really, Democrats? Is like the Republican MAGA is split because of Trump's war intervention. I don't think so. And then the TPS with Haiti and Syria, I think this is going to be hard as more corruption within like other industries is revealed, like what we had in Minnesota. So I don't necessarily think those are good talking points for the Democrats. I think safe issues for the Democrats and the reasonable voter. Let's talk about AI and jobs. That's right, jobs. How about the Epstein files? I think more people have been arrested for the reflecting pool vandalism than the Epstein files. Or how about respect for the Constitution over a king or individuals? How about professionalism and decorum and respect for the office? How about we talk about spending and waste and corruption? How about gas prices and tariffs? But look, these gas prices and tariffs are going to hurt some of the Democrats because they agree that, you know, Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. Also, when we get into this whole war in Iran, I think it could be safe in terms of, a discussion about how much money we have spent on it. But, however, I think in the end, because many Democrats have already said Iran's an existential threat, I think that they're not going to get that much traction on claiming the Iran war was bad because they've agreed with the end existential impact that we're trying to avoid. Republicans, safe issues for the serious voter. Trump's obviously bragging on the stock market. Now, look, I disagree that if the stock market's doing good, everybody's doing good. That's so not true. It's like if the stock market's doing good, then like 10% of Americans are doing better. Space exploration, that's something that you could tout or talk about. Our agriculture, apparently, we're making deals with China and we're starting to sell our agricultural globally. Some people see that as a good idea. Some people see that as a bad idea. AI leadership, that's one thing that I think Republicans could try to latch on and say the U.S. needs to be a leader. However, whenever you're trying to say we need to be a leader, you need to be aware of what are your leaders proposing. The idea of Iran nuclear honesty, I think this is interesting. I think when the president came around and said, look, we can't expect Iran not to arm themselves and not to have any missiles. I kind of agree that that's true, and I kind of feel like that the status quo of everybody claiming we need to keep Iran down, keep them on the mat, beat them down, beat them like dogs. Like, I don't think that that's right. And I don't think that's how we get a world of peace. And so I think that Republicans can lean on this Iran nuclear honesty deal that Trump is doing, trying to integrate Iran into the global economy. Also, I think that gas prices may be lower by the time elections get here. And I figure the petroleum industries can rig the markets or control the markets in order to make sure they're lower when the elections get here so everyone will not go out and vote for the democratic socialists that everybody's afraid of. I'll do a different video on that one. We need honest politicians. If you lie to me to my face, then you're not respecting my intelligence, okay? Even if the politician's taking a jab at their intellectual enemies, it's still lying to me to make an argument, which is a losing method. To claim that the strait will be open, to claim that, that they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks and used it within an hour. All of that is a lie. And we know that's a lie. Those are just scare tactics. And so some of these moves are not a genius move to frustrate people with nonsense. It's just nonsense. The strait is open. We have a deal. I like inflation. Come on. Make these politicians be honest with you at least. They could have said things in the past that help and speak to your heart, but that doesn't mean that right now the things that are happening in our world are things that are benefiting all of the people that support the current administration. Are these politicians talking to me like they respect me? Or they talking to me like they expect me to be misinformed because I have limited my access points to information based upon the dogmatic rhetoric that says you can't trust two-thirds of the media out there. You only listen to one-third. So in the end, think for yourself. Don't allow these politicians to tell you how to think. Think it through. My purpose in Talking Points USA, I'll try to bring you the facts that I hear people say themselves rather than actually trying to find information that is non-verifiable. Long-haired country boy, that's Talking Points USA. You have a wonderful day.